you recording me? Okay. All right. You know what I'm going to do is, once you guys are finished with your surveys, I want to invite everybody to stand up real quick. I know some of you had some dinners, some mashed potatoes.
I did.
Might be sticking to your bones and maybe some other parts of your anatomy that we're not going to share. What I want to invite everybody to do is I want us to get locked into this moment, okay? So I want you to do something for me. Take your two hands, put them out just like this. You guys are going to make a fist, okay? And what you're going to do with your two fists is I want you to cross them across your chest just like this. And I want you to just knock a little bit. You do that? Just knock. Now do the same thing right here on your neck. Y'all feel that vibration? Yeah? Yeah. Let's get the arms a little bit. Let's wake it up. If you can, let's get some. Now, we're going to end by doing one of these right here. Just cross. And I want you to feel your shoulders. I want you to dig into the fabric. My man got a nice jacket over there. I'm jealous. Smooth. Now, what you're feeling right now is a sensation of being present, which is a key attribute as dads. What we're called to do, right? Is to be present. And so I want everybody to repeat after me. I'm here.
I'm here.
I'm present.
I'm present.
I matter.
I matter.
I'm here.
I'm here.
I'm present.
I'm present.
I matter.
I matter.
All right, everyone, you can take your seats. Are you following me? Yes, you are. Okay, stay on me. So some of you I've met already today. So I want to reintroduce myself. My name is Vladimir Louissaint. I came here with my Embrace hat. I wear a lot of hats these days. Who here is a hat fan? Any sneakerheads in the building? Who has the biggest sneaker collection? Round numbers. 50.
Damn, all right, big dog.
That's a lot of feet.
Yeah. I'm out of this competition.
Yeah, he's got
No, that's okay. So the other day I did a count. I had about 37 hats hanging on my wall. I love hats. And I wear a lot of hats these days. So as you probably see on the material in front of your table, I'm an author, I'm a motivational speaker, but I'm also a dad. I'm a proud husband. I'm a father. Everybody here's got kids, right? Yes, sir. Raise your hand, just quick show of hands if you have show. Child. I had to break it down. Who here has kids under the age of 5? Raise your hand. Let me see your hands. I feel it. I'm tough, man. Woo! Who here has kids over the age of 10? Dang, all right. Over the age of 18. Wow, you guys are good. I don't know what you guys are doing to stay young, but let me get something. Now, who here know that they've got inner children too? Raise your hands.
Inner children?
Inner children. Anybody know what that means when I say that? So there's a framework called internal family systems. And it's a framework that's designed to help you understand the different parts of you that you carry from your childhood. Now, my inner child, I've always been in touch with him. But the only thing I knew was that he was petrified of becoming a father. And for many of us, fatherhood is loaded. Manhood is loaded. Am I right? It's not easy being a man. It's not easy having that pressure. So there's so many things that can happen in your life that make it so that being present with your inner children, as a father, as a husband, can feel impossible, right? That's how I felt when my son was born. But I want to backtrack a little bit. I want to give you guys a little bit of who I am, how I came here, and why this is called the father factor. Every single one of you came sitting here, and the women too. We all agree on one thing. Dads are needed, right? Not only to create life, but your presence matters more than we even understand. So I want to bring you back to the year of our Lord, 1991. That's right. I just snitched on myself. Always been an old soul, though, all right? So the story goes, I was born and raised in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Born in Boston, actually. To two Haitian immigrants. Parents came from Haiti. My dad's been here for over 40 years. My mom came when my older brother, 6 years older, was 4. Mom didn't speak any English. Matter of fact, she was learning how to speak English, reading my little kindergarten books when I came home from school. Good times. Simple times. And so, from the moment that I was born, and I was old enough to remember, I saw something's not quite right with mom and dad. Who's old enough to remember the Cosby Show? What am I asking? Hold on, I'm probably getting first. Cosby Show. Wholesome dad, right? Maybe outside of what's been going on. That's just, Mr. Huxtable's a wholesome man. And I used to watch these shows, and I'm like, how come dad and mom don't really get along like, is it Claire Huxtable? Somebody help me out.
It is Claire.
Claire and Cliff. Let's call him Bill. I don't remember his name. So ever since I was a kid, man, my parents were in a war zone. That's what our house was. Non-stop arguing, non-stop fighting. And essentially how it was my mom and my dad on this, my mom and my brother on this side, and me and my dad on this side. It was, can I be honest with you guys?
Yeah.
Can I be honest with you guys?
Yes.
Okay, I want to be honest. I know the mashed potatoes are here. I want to hear some voices in here. Because what I'm about to do is get real. Can I be real with you guys?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay. It was scary being at home. Okay. And so one day I asked my mom, might have been like 7 or so. I said, Mom, why are you and Dad always fighting with each other? And we're not talking about little bickers here and there behind closed doors. I mean, it was wild. It was nothing for my dad to get mad, break some stuff, and leave the house, and then turn the lights off, and disappear for hours. Never knew if he was going to come back. I remember all the time I'd sit at the window on Green Street where I grew up, right behind Central Square. Anybody know about Central Square? Cambridge? Man, y'all got to get out to the east. Man, it's cool.
I know what it is.
You do, right?
I know.
You do? Okay.
I'm from Boston.
I'm in. I don't know. I used to always sit right there in the window, and I could see all the cars turning on the street. I was always waiting for my dad's car to come by. The reason why I share this image with you is that that's where my inner child was really starting to develop his identity. Of feeling abandoned and feeling scared. Right? So when I asked my mom, why do you guys argue so much? She says to me, well, if I'm going to be honest with you, our problems really started when your father found out I was pregnant with you. Me, 7 years old, and I know. Okay? I can't conceptualize the type of pressure a man's getting, right? When you know you're going to create a life, bring another life that you're responsible for. And so my mom told me, and again, my mom and I have been through a whole lot together. We have a great relationship today. And she told me, hey, listen, when your dad knew that you were on your way, he was on a crusade. He was always telling me to abort you. Matter of fact, I think my mom was 3 months pregnant, and my dad gave her $300 because she had so much that she was dealing with, so much stress, you got to get out of the house, right? My uncle, who lives in New York, my godfather, he comes and picks her up. My uncle's always been there. Matter of fact, he's so important and integral in my life as a man that we named my son after him. And so Uncle Tino comes and gets her. My dad gives her $300. Doesn't say anything. But we could all assume what he probably thought was going to happen. Right? Unburden all of us. Don't bring another child to this world. Didn't you have a hand in that, though? Something else. We all know what he had in that. I like to think about it. My mom came back with a bunch of baby stuff. Pissed my dad off. Can I say piss?
Sure.
Can I be real with y'all? I mean,
Safe space.
We're in safe space, right?
Yes,
Okay. My mother went into labor. I was 2 weeks late. My dad brought her to the hospital, and he didn't come back. So my mom gave birth to me alone. And my father would return, pick a fight with her at the hospital while she's got all these complications going with pregnancy, and then storm off. And mom was there for another 2 days. So the reason why I'm sharing this part of the story, which I don't usually get to share, is because I really want you to understand how our early childhood experiences factor in to our fatherhood. Is everybody tracking what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So my daddy and I had a complicated relationship, right? He would get me all the games and toys, and I was a big wrestling fan, I still am, right? Give me all the stuff that I want. You know, we were a couple generations behind. Everyone's playing PS3, and I'm playing like retarded. Yeah, like. But there's one thing that just never sat well with me, and it was that it almost seemed as if there was no continuity at all. It was just either me and my dad and my brother and my mom, or there was nothing. So my mom finally gathered enough resources to leave. Now, if you know anything about domestic violence, now we have more of an understanding of what it is. It isn't just somebody getting battered, right? Physically. Is that what we think of when we think of domestic violence? It's coercive control. It's manipulation. It's severing you off from the world. But it can also mean weaponizing your children for leverage. Now, what kind of people would do that? I don't think anybody steps out and says, I'm going to be that type of dad, right? So my mom leaves. We move into the projects, 7 years, and I was pissed. I was mad. I was angry. I felt like my world was shattering. I don't know what world I had, but everything that I knew was gone. And I had a yearning to know who my father was, despite the fact I've had plenty of exposure to him, right? So I want to fast forward to the year of our Lord, 2006. I'm just going to stitch on myself all day. I'm a young cat. Okay? In my sophomore year in high school, my mom and I are having a fight about me ministering to a young man that lived next to us. This kid was into all sorts of stuff, man. So I was getting out of control in school, and I just wanted to keep him from falling off the cliff. Why? Because I felt like I was already there. The only difference is I wasn't crashing out, I was crashing in. Everybody know what I mean when I say that? No. Mm-hmm. Now some people are out of control, they're so angry, they're so frustrated, they're so hurt, they're tired of being manipulated and hurt, so they're just going out there and picking fights with people. Who else? Raise your hand if you know somebody like that. Right? I've met some of y'all. No judgment. Hey, it is what it is. But I was the one who crashed in. I told jokes. I created a facade. I created another personality. Because what we need in our dads is not for them to buy us candy or toys. It's for them to tell us who we are. You know what I mean? How many here have sons? Think about what you see when you look at your son. It's almost impossible not to see you. But if you're not connected to your inner children or connected to your experiences, then the only thing you're going to see in that reflection is what you lost. So I'm fighting with my mom. I said, I'm going down the street to get some Skittles. I'm going to ride my purple bike with the sparkles that I parked down the street from the high school so nobody sees that I'm driving it. End up getting stolen anyway. God, when he steals a bird bike. Tell you that story later. So my mother tells me, if you leave, don't bother coming back. Who here has been told that? Raise your hand. Our mothers are strong, y'all. Sometimes they say things that they mean, but they don't understand the impact of those words. Because when my mom said that, she was just trying to scare me into staying. Obedience. How many of us, we were talking about it, right? How many of us have to negotiate with our 3-year-olds? Tell them about the boogie monster or the bear or the Santa Claus. Some kids are scared of Santa Claus. I don't know. You got to tell them something. My mom was trying to get me to stay because she knew that she was running a tight line, right? She moved out of my dad's situation and moved right into the projects with her mom and her sister and her 2 kids with no support or therapy. So I said, so you don't want me either. I'm out of here. I took my purple stars and I was out. I didn't even get the Skittles. Can anybody guess where I went? Straight to my daddy's house. He said, oh, come in, man. I got something for you. We went to Best Buy. He bought me a Gateway PC. Anybody remembers those? They're forgettable because if you owned one, you knew. So I get to my dad's house, sophomore year, and I find myself with all this free time. I can go and hang out with my friends with no consequence. I can come home when I want. I can sneak girls in the house, get into all sorts of things. My daddy don't see none of that. If he saw it, he was just kind of like, nobody taught me any different. My dad was just happy I was there. But we didn't have a relationship, if I'm gonna be honest. And I lived there for about 1.5 years until I realized that something was wrong. I wasn't with my mom anymore. I wasn't talking to my brother anymore. And I felt like I was losing something. And so I'd go to my mom's house for her birthdays and things. And one day I went for my grandmother's birthday, and I was just hanging out in the bed. And my mom looks at me and she's like, aren't you supposed to be leaving, going back to your dad's house soon? I looked at my mom and I said, I'm not going back. She was like, oh, okay. So then eventually I go back to my dad's house so I can get some things. What is a teenager going to be really prioritizing? My Xbox 360 and my wrestling clothes. I was on the wrestling team that year. Got my butt kicked, but it was okay. I needed the outlet. I'll never forget that day. It was November. It was cold. I'm in Cambridge. There's a blizzard going on. So I show up to the door, ring the doorbell. Dad had this old doorbell. It didn't go ding dong. It went, ah! Literally just like that. It's a type of doorbell that when you ring it, you're like, I don't think I'm supposed to be ringing this doorbell. Yeah. If I was going to sell you something, maybe I should sell it somewhere else. And when I was living with my father, I always knew when something was about to happen. My father would come next door. So we had a 4-family house that was owned by my dad's sister. And oftentimes he'd spend most of his days there. And he'd come home. He wouldn't really have any interaction with us at all. We never ate as a family. We never really did anything like that. And I knew something was going to happen between my mom and my dad by looking at my father's forehead. My man had a temporal vein the size of a snake. And when he was ready to explode, I could see it. If you've grown up in that type of environment, you become hypervigilant to your surroundings. So that day was no different. I opened the door, and my father's vein answers. Thumping like this, right? I say, hey, Dad, I'm just here to get some things, okay? I didn't have an explanation. I just said I need to get some things and going to my mom's house. He's like, cool. Whatever. I was like, he's taking it better than I thought. That was short-lived. As I started gathering my things, my father, he says to me, I don't remember what the conversation was, but he says to me, I don't care if you leave. I don't love you. I never loved you. I don't need you. And you, your mom, and your brother can die. It's real words. And of course, as a teenager, I'm like, whatever, man, this guy's bugging out. I got my Xbox 360. but I was dying inside. Can you imagine hearing those words? Let me put it this way. Can you imagine saying those words to your son? Imagine what it would do to him. I didn't know, because the only thing I was taught was to get up and move on. So all I did was focus on getting my 360 and all the cords that came with it, because I'd be really pissed if I didn't get all the cords, and my wrestling gear, and getting out of that house. And I just put it on the shelf for years. Never really accessed that memory. Put it along the shelf with all the other memories that I didn't want to remember. Our bodies are keen on protecting us. Am I right? But how many here have been to therapy before? Raise your hand. One of the more difficult things I had in therapy, I realized, is that there were things that I couldn't remember. Does that ever happen to anybody? My wife's a social worker. It's part of the reason why I'm here today, to talk with any sort of clarity on what I'm talking about. And she'd ask me just basic questions like, did your family go to the park? Or what did you guys do during the holiday season? Right? Specific questions, though. And I'd look at her and I'd say, I can't remember. And I'd get frustrated. I'd get so angry that I couldn't remember. I wanted not to remember this day, but I always did. That was my junior year in high school. Senior year comes, it goes, go to college, and I just continue doing what I know how to do, perform. How many here have had to perform in order to get along somewhere? Raise your hand. And especially as men, let's talk for real. We do that all the time. This safe space here is beautiful, but it is rare, relatively. Because what do we get told as men? Somebody scream it out. If you want to talk to your boy and say, hey man, I'm struggling with something, what do you usually hear? Suck it up. Deal with it. Get over it. Here's my favorite one. Man up. Man up. What you mad about your dad for? So I get older, get through college, doing the girlfriend thing. Again, man, I'm a two-trick pony. I had weights in the weight room, and I had a smile. That's it. So I smile at you and do a little, and you'll never have to know who I am. But all the while, I wasn't dealing with the father wound that was wrecking my life. When I was at my dad's house, I started picking up habits. Isolation. Pornography. This is men's space, right? I'm gonna be real with you. There are many men that have porn problems, that have sex problems, that have drug problems. And I'm here to tell you that these problems, these addictions the problem is not the substance or the behavior, it's the underlying trauma. And for many men, because we don't have safe spaces, we keep moving around, doing the same thing over and over again, and just rebranding it. I told myself I was never going to be like my dad. What do you think I was doing when I got in these relationships? I was ice cold. Now, my ex-girlfriend, she's kind of crazy, okay? Met her in college. She was the type of crazy she was slashing her own tires, type of crazy. Thank you, Lordy. When I met my wife, ironically enough, they couldn't be any more different, but they told me the same thing. When things got tough, they would tell me, why are you so cold? It's almost like you don't care. And I would say to her, this is just how I've always been. I'm a warm guy, but you get close to me, I'm gonna get cold. I'm hot from far away. I'm winter up north, right here. So one day with my wife, when we were dating, she looks at me and she's like, yo, what's wrong with you? Not for nothing. She wasn't trying to be disrespectful. But she was asking me a legit question. What is wrong with you? What happened to you? What's hurting you? Who's hurting you? What do you think I told her? I'm straight. Ain't nothing hurting me. I'm Vlad, bodybuilder, state trooper. If I didn't mention that, yes, I was a state trooper for 6 years in the state of Massachusetts. All the while, the father wound remained unaddressed. I started therapy in 2015 because I thought I had a sex problem. I thought I had an addiction problem, but what I really had was an identity problem. I had no idea who I was outside of the mask that I wore. But here I am, just achieving. Because that's what we're bred to do. That's what men are socialized to do. Achieve your way, succeed your way out of obscurity. But you will never achieve your way out of healing. Am I right? So when I entered the state police, things took a turn. Now this is like, I don't know if you know anything about any military vets in here? Anybody friends with any military vets, paramilitary vets? If they've told you any stories about basic training, those stories are true. State police is modeled after paramilitary organizations. Yes, there is hazing, if you want to call it that. It is hilarious now, but it was absolutely not funny when it was happening, right? But what it did was promote this macho, patriarchal, I gotta just smash things. The other day I was talking to my boy, Corden, and we were having our podcast, and he says to me, you know, I realized that men, we tend to have violent language with each other. And I was like, what do you mean? I would never say I smack anybody. I was never that. I was a lover, not a fighter. I told you I crash in and stay cold. He said, no, you don't understand. What are some of the things that we say to each other when we want to encourage each other? Yo, you're going to kill it. You're going to crush it. Right? How many of us have said that before? Hey, yo, crush that, man. You got it, bro. You're going to kill that. Ugh. Chest hair. Violence. So what do you think we're going to say to ourselves when we're falling short of the standards that we set for ourselves? I'm an idiot. I hate this. I'm not good enough. What we say to our children matters. Why? Because when I went into the state police, even though I was only starting to scratch the surface on my trauma, that inner voice was not mine. It was my dad's. Something he said to me in 2007 was still ruining and controlling my life all those years later. Because I got into the state police. I went through the academy, and I'm just going to be honest with you, it was not easy. I had emergency surgery on October the 13th, only 6 weeks into the academy. Then I failed an exam. And right before that, my grandmother dies. And then I got sat in front of the command staff, and they told me, yeah, bro, you're not going to make it, man. You don't have enough time. You've lost too much PT time. You just failed an exam. And now you're nowhere near ready to get back to physical training. So you might want to just take a deferment to the next class. And I told them, hey, if I don't leave here as a trooper, I'm not coming back. How many of us have had that serious goal in our lives? If I don't do this, if it's all or nothing, right? Now, in the moment, it sounds great. But that all or nothing attitude, that mantra, is why so many men struggle with mental health in silence. Graduate from the academy. Doing well, but I'm feeling a bit of a shift here. I don't feel like I'm quite aligned here. I don't feel like I quite belong here. There's some questionable things that they're asking me to do, and I don't really think I want to do this. But I found myself still trying to perform, put on my face, do my thing. So now the year is 2020. 2022, actually. I'm in a specialized unit. Nothing fancy. I wasn't SWAT or anything, man. I was just running background checks for tow companies. Sweet gig too. You know what I would do is I had the satellite office right down the street from my house, about a mile away. So I would walk there to work. I drive there to work, do my work, and then I'd get my voice acting stuff. I'd bring all my voice acting work to work, do my stuff, send it to clients, walk back, ain't nobody the wiser. I handled my business, man. In 2022, something shifted. Now, I said that men, we carry a lot of loads, right? It's loaded being a man. The pressure is immense, and at times it's damn near impossible. There are things they'd make us do in the academy that were not possible, literally impossible, just to mess with you and get you to figure things out and not give up. I get it. But it doesn't set a great precedent, does it, for us as men? It doesn't help. And so I'm in 2022, sheesh, how old was I? 31. I had the weight of the world on my shoulders. I got my family on my back. I've got this career that I don't want. I've got a lifetime of fatigue in the back of my head, in my heart. My daddy didn't want me. He told me to die. I got to be my mom's boyfriend now, basically. If you grew up with a single mom, you know what I mean. Like, I have to carry the emotional load of two parents that I don't even live with full time. And I got to do all these things, and I'm tired. Can anybody relate? I'm tired. Now, here's a little cheat code for those of you who have friends who are men that you care about. I'm tired is an emergency word. It's an emergency phrase. See, women, I was just telling, who was I telling? I was telling you, Anthony. Women, I admire you guys so much. I admire you even more after seeing my wife give birth. That stuff was crazy. Could never be me. I'm just not built like that, man. That joint. Whew. I mean, that sofa was kind of hard, though. Y'all know what I'm talking about, the sofa? Oh, yeah. I'm like, can I just get a rock? Be softer. Smooth out the side. But what I love about women, what I admire about women is that women can create circles. The other day, I just saw women sitting in the grass, all grounded, and they were just talking about their lives, y'all. They were talking about their feelings, and they were holding space and creating space. And I thought to myself, what are the guys doing in this playground? I'm here with my son, but what are the guys doing? Hey. Before I realize it, there's like 20, 30 guys at this park, dads, that are not even talking to each other. It becomes immeasurable when a man is under pressure and has nowhere to go, where the bottom is about to fall out. When you hear him say, I'm tired, wake up. That is a man who is either on the brink of crisis or is actively in crisis. Now, at this time in 2022, I had friends, and my boy David. I had some guys I could talk to about simple stuff. Shoot, I could talk to him about the NBA. I stopped watching basketball at that time, too. I just wasn't myself, y'all. You know? One day I woke up and I went to work, and I had no motivation to go to work this day. I was tired. One of my best friends, she calls me, and she just lost a family member, and she was really upset. And something about that broke something in me. The helplessness I felt in that moment just brought up the helplessness in general. Because now here I am, I'm at a job I don't like. I got family I can't really talk to. I've got therapy, but I'm tired. I don't know where else to put this stuff. It's just getting immeasurable. So I get to work, I can't focus. Can't do anything. I was tired. and I just wanted to rest. Y'all ever get that idea? Like, oh man, I just want to rest, man. Let me just put my head down real quick. But I'm not talking about putting your head on a pillow. I want it out. I wanted to get out of here. I didn't want to keep fighting. I didn't want to keep pretending. My mask was just, like I just wanted to get out of here. I wanted to leave the pressure to somebody else. Service weapon to my head, cocked. And I had a split-second decision to make. Of course, I did the same thing I did when I left my daddy's house. I'm like, man, that was crazy. Push on. No, you can laugh. That's exactly what I was like. Oops, never mind. Carry forward. State police will tell you to carry on. Friday hits. The husband of my friend, because we all went to college together, he's talking to me. We're checking in through text, and he says, I asked him how he's doing. He says, yeah, man, I'm just fighting my demons. And then in that moment, I realized, yo, bro, I almost killed myself. And I really wanted to do it. And the worst part about that is, nobody would have known. Because look, I'm Vlad, baby. I'm here. And then I'm gone. Who would have known? So, of course, the last shred of mainstream masculinity was still in my soul. And so as my friend texted me that and I came to that realization, I'm backing up into the garage and I am bawling my eyes out. Crisis. Can somebody say the word crisis? Can somebody say the word crisis? I was in crisis, yo. I go in there, and I went in there with every intention in my house to ask my wife how her day was and just go about my business. And as soon as she asked me how my day was, I started bawling again. I'm like, look at me as a man. I can't even get it together for 5 seconds to act like everything's okay anymore. Start beating myself up. But what I did in that moment changed the course of my life, because instead of trying to man up and get over it and be great and be this and be that, I fell into her arms where it was safe and I let it loose. All of it. And that's what began some of the most difficult work, the most difficult work of my life. What they don't tell you, because nobody ever really preps you for having suicidal ideations. And I grew up religious. That is sacrilegious to allow yourself to sin in that way. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with religion, okay? What I'm saying is that the framework at which we look at our mental health, if we're looking at it through religion, hey man, it's cool, but I didn't learn anything. And now I'm struggling to live. I don't know how to be here anymore. So I found myself in community, asking for help every single day. For those of you, I heard some great stories about sobriety. You work the 12 steps. I'm telling you, if you haven't done it, bless you. But you got to do the same thing when you're recovering from suicidal ideations. And what they don't tell you is that if you survive, the attempt to do it becomes even greater. Now I just find myself obsessing over death. Guilt. I let go of my wife, but I still can't let go, right? Because in my quiet moments, I'm saying to myself, yo, bro, you would have devastated your family. You would have devastated your friends. What would your mother think? What would your daddy think? What would anybody think? I still can't even get to the grips of the problems. I'm still trying to perform. Trying to take up space for other people. And what I learned in recovery was that there was no way around this. If I wanted to be here, I had to learn how to live with who I was. Not what somebody told me to be, not who I pretended to be, not who I aspired to be, but to just be comfortable in my own skin and dispel the lies that I was given about myself and my value. When my daddy didn't want me, my daddy wanted me aborted. He told me to die. It made it so much easier and tempting to want to die. Like, I'm talking about some real stuff. Does anybody feel me? So I went to a conference in 2022. It was only a month later. I'm still fragile. My boy's like, hey, man, I'm going to this men's conference. Come with me. What do I have to lose? So I go. And the topic was the father wound. Surprise, surprise. I'm not even that close to this guy. And at the end of the conference, we all sitting at tables just like this. And the organizer said, this is the last exercise I want you to do. I want you to pull out your phone. And if your father is still alive, I want you to text him something. I'm looking around. These guys are like, I ain't doing that. It's like, I want you to pull out your phone and text him. And you tell him that you forgive him. And that you accept that all he knew is all he could give you. And that's okay. What do you think my first initial? I'm like, hell no. Hell no. I'm not doing that. Why should I give him the satisfaction of forgiveness? Why does he get to have that and I don't get anything in return? I was looking at it like this. Because here I was thinking that forgiveness was something that I was doing for somebody else, when I realized that forgiveness was the healing and release I needed. So I sent the text. I did the work. My father responds. My dad, when he doesn't want to be found, he's not found, okay? And he says to me, Vlad, I never felt like I belonged anywhere. And I was like, damn. You're supposed to make this easy and not respond. Not show me your humanity. Not show me that you were just a man trying to figure it out. You know, I was telling Anthony earlier, my father told me a story about my grandfather, right? He told me that my grandfather died when he was 4, which would be believable if my dad wasn't the eldest sibling living and had 4 younger siblings, one of which are 20 years apart from him. So I'm like, math ain't mathin'. I asked him again this year, 2025, about grandpa. You know what he says to me? He's like, yeah, I was with him. And he never said this before. He said, I was with him on his deathbed, and I was 9, and I watched him pass away. And I'm like, were you 9 or were you 4? Were you 4 or were you 6? Which is it? It doesn't matter. All I know is that my dad's relationship with his father was so tough that he could never talk the truth. So here's what I want to show you. That conference changed my life. Everything in my life did a 360 from there. And it's because I actually experienced real forgiveness, not holy forgiveness, not just you forgive somebody so that you don't burn. I mean, really just accepting the fact that he couldn't have done any better. Who raised him? Who could raise him? My grandmother had 8 kids in Haiti. Barely even had a house. They were living in squalor. My dad was in survival. And so many of us as men are trying to do the impossible, trying to do something we've never done in survival. So how do you get out of survival? I'm going to make up a word. Get into thrival. There are 3 things that we each need to harness as fathers, okay? Number 1, if you got a pen, you should write this down. Number 1 is clarity. Clarity. And I'm going to break these down in a second. I know I got about a couple minutes left, so I'm going to run through this. Number 2 is consistency. And number 3, I'm gonna like this one. Number 3 is proximity. Now, what do I mean by that? The clarity was given to me when I forgave my father. That was just me accepting the universe happened. And it was unfortunate. And I need to embrace that. I need to accept that. But that gave me clarity to move forward. Because before, I was just trying not to be that 9-year-old boy or that 17-year-old. We talked about inner children, right? I needed that inner child to heal. And I could not heal that inner child. He could not stop wrecking my life until I forgave. It's not a courtesy. It's clarity. Number 2 is consistency. Okay? So we know that if you've got a father wound or parental wound, forgiveness is going to look different to everybody here. I don't go by any crazy definition. I just accept that things could not have been done any more differently. So if you've got a parental wound and you haven't healed, and when I say healed, I don't mean like a static thing. If you are not actively healing that wound or you're ignoring it, you need to do it because you're not going to have the clarity to be mindful with your son. Number 2 is consistency. I'm going to say something bold and brash, and I hope that you forgive me, but here's the thing. You cannot be a present and effective father if you are a shitty husband. You will never be an effective father if you cannot be an effective partner, husband, or co-parent. You said it earlier, brother, about modeling what it looks like to get along with your parent, your co-parent. My father was neither. And so what I work on every single day, even when I don't feel like it, because let's keep it a stack, I want to isolate when it gets rough. I want to go back into the trenches, and I don't want to be bothered. I don't want nobody to talk to me. I'm going to get to why that doesn't happen, despite my best efforts in a second. But I have to be consistent. That means having a conversation with my wife when I don't want to. That means remembering that I fell into her arms when I was suicidal and that she is safe. Consistency. The consistency, if you put the same effort into being a father that you do in being a husband and vice versa, then you'll have consistency across everything because parenthood is not just you being a dad, it's you being a dad, a co-parent, a husband, a father. We're called to be so many things, but you got to be consistent. And the last one I'm going to say is proximity. And the reason why we talk about proximity is because where did I get that healing, y'all? Anybody remember? Where was it when my life turned? At a conference. And what I didn't go to that conference one time and I left. What I gained from that conference was a community of men called the Men's Winning Circle. We still chop it up. Every Monday we get on a call and we check in. Wins, lessons. I lead a man-to-man support group every second Tuesday of the month. You guys should come. If you need a space that is safe, I'm going to hold it for you. Do the same thing, wins, lessons, and we chop it up. We end up talking for hours. My wife be mad. She's like, yo, you gonna come to bed? How about bedtime, bro? What's going on with you? Proximity matters because in isolation, you lose. You lose as men. I was isolated and I almost lost everything. When I was in community now, when I don't want to talk to anybody, bro, too bad, Vlad. Because guess who's calling you right now? Manny's calling you. Guess who's calling you right now? Darian's calling you. Little story, and I'll end with this. When my wife was going into labor, we had 2 options, 2 people that we can have there. And Julie's like, you gonna bring your mom? I'm like, hell no. She don't think she having the baby. Nah, and your mom will too. So it's just me and my sister-in-law. For those of you who don't know, my wife's a triplet. She has a twin sister and a brother. And as I saw all the people coming in over the week that we were there, putting instruments all around, and y'all know how that goes. A lot of care and attention was given to the mom. And I almost felt like I'm just here. I don't really have anything to contribute. And if I try to pipe in with something like, oh, you know what, I think, do you have a uterus? And so I started slipping back, and I was like, you know what, bro, I don't belong here, man. And thankfully, I had the men's winning circle. Why? Because I texted my boy Darren, and he said, you need to get your ass back into that room, and you need to be there for your wife. You are the most important person for your wife and your child. Nobody can replace you in that room. And I'm so thankful he said, because I wasn't going to leave, but guess what? I didn't have a precedent. My dad wasn't there when I was born. So I can be here physically and still not be here mentally. He got me back to being present, and that's why proximity matters. Because if I didn't have that deep relationship, you would have just been like, go, bro. Do your thing. No, you do that anyway. You tell them to holler at you when you get back home. Y'all know what the stats say. Daughters who have their fathers in their lives are 75% less likely to experience a teen birth. And get this, children who have close relationships with their dads, like I'm just dapping you up, daddy. Wait, pause.
I got you.
Dang. Safe space, right? Safe space. Whew. Children who have fathers with close relationships are 80% less likely to be incarcerated, less likely to have mental health problems. So I'll close with this. I had you start by affirming yourself. You're here, you're present, you matter. Nobody can replace you. Now, I don't care what, if you got a baby mama, I don't care what they say. And you could tell them I said that. I don't care what they say. Tell them to fight me. We'll crack some jokes and we'll hug it out. Nobody can replace you. As men, as brothers, as heads of your household, or co-conspirators against those odds that told you you're not supposed to be a daddy. You matter. And you don't just matter, you are necessary for society. We need our dads. And when I look at my son, who's almost 3, I cry tears of happiness. Because I can not only just see him, I feel him. And he has access to me that I didn't have, and that's okay. Because the goal isn't to do better than the last generation, to be better than my daddy. It's just to be different and to be myself. So as you guys go back into your communities, back into your households, remind yourselves when it gets thick and you feel like, touch somebody and say, hey, I need help. Touch somebody and say, hey, I need assurance. Take all that mainstream masculinity bullcrap that you heard and toss it, because men aren't winning with that anymore. You matter, you're here, and you're present. And as long as that is, you're going to experience life on a whole nother level. So I want you guys to give yourselves a round of applause for showing up and doing the work. Oh, yeah, let me get some of that. Y'all are daddies. Come on, daddies. Come on, daddies. Come on, daddies. We're going to talk later, man. I really should have said that. But y'all matter. That's it. That's all I got. Appreciate it. I appreciate you, man. Bro, man. Appreciate you, brother. Hey. Appreciate you, man. Of course, man. Appreciate you having me, brother. Yeah, of course.